In this episode of Texpos, we are taking a look at Cam Heyward's podcast, officially called Not Just Football with Cam Heyward. If you're not familiar with who he is a current NFL athlete that also has his own podcast. He plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers organization, has been there, I believe, his entire career, and is really a mainstay in that community. So let's take a look at his podcast setup here. Now, looking initially at the overall uh, design of this, I really like this setup. It's pretty simple in its nature, but it's got a lot going on that is very positive. I like the fact that he's using the corner of his room here, and we can identify that by just looking simply right here in the middle. He is about sitting 50% in the middle of the screen, so that's pretty cool. But using the corner of a room definitely adds a little extra dynamic to a shot, and you don't see it that often. So if you can pull off that, I think it's really good. Now, on the left-hand side here, we do see that we have a lot of empty space going on here, so we'll come back to that here secondly. But on the right-hand side, we definitely make up for it here with some of the memorabilia. We got some pictures here. So it really brings out what he does. And whenever you can put in certain elements into your background of things that you do, accomplishments, interests, that really does help keep your audience's attention and even grab a new audience member as well. I've experienced that in the past of things just being in the background have captured someone's attention and they wanted to, take a deeper look into what I was doing. So really like that part of the setup here. Now let's kind of talk about the lighting in this particular setup here. We do see quite a few shadows here. We can see our first shadow underneath the sign. We see shadows here on the shirt as well. And we also have some darkness over here on that right-hand side. If he was to use a dedicated key light, we could definitely get rid of a lot of those shadows and have everything a little bit more visually brighter and a little bit easier to look at. So that would be one recommendation I would have. We can definitely tell it's a lot of the natural room bulb light by this area here on that left hand side. Again, that amber brown color is coming from a traditional light bulb, probably the bulb up in the ceiling, right? Or the lamp that has just a regular light bulb in it. Having a true white color with a 5500 degree Kelvin, a dedicated light on him would definitely make this setup a little punchier here, in my opinion. Now, if we look at the camera, it looks like he's using a pretty quality camera here. I don't think it'd be a webcam here in this case because the picture image is a little bit better than some of the other setups we've reviewed here in the past here. So definitely shout out in an improved quality on the camera side. Now, if we look at the audio, which is always one of the things I like to check out, we see that he is using a boom arm down here for his audio. And we can see that this is a Shure boom arm down here because of the branding on it. And the microphone is just out of frame here. Now, without assuming that this is a Shure microphone, the other parts of the setup here I want to show you in some other video I have here. It leads me to believe it's a Shure microphone, but can't be 100% exact on that. Now, I'll share this link to his podcast so you can subscribe and follow him there, along with the other two links that we're going to look at here as well, because I wanted to talk about the guest setup as well when you have this type of podcast. Now, what I like about this guest setup is the fact that he keeps that same visual dynamics, that gray, dark color scheme that kind of goes around the borders here on the side. Really nice. And then he's using a nice template graphic. I can't tell you how many times I've seen interviews that just don't look good. So the actual graphic itself looks good. The nice cutout. They're all the same size for all three individuals. Actually looks good. Don't take that for granted. Something like that. Okay. Now, in here, we're seeing that we have one of my favorite coaches, Tony Dungy, is one of the guests on this podcast, and he also has a co-host as well. Now, I apologize in advance because I don't remember the co-host name, but that's important because I have another a screen grab I want to share with you as well. So we have a 3-person setup using a template graphic, and you can find these online, and you just have a better visual. Important thing with using a graphic like this and you're having interviews with guests is to make sure they actually kind of sit still. When you have an interviewee and they're not familiar with being on camera and they'll rock from side to side or they'll lean up and lean back, it definitely can throw that visual off, especially because this is a template and because you have to try to get 3 people on screen at the same time. It's very important that they pretty much remain in place through the entire broadcast of that. Now, when you're interviewing guests, there's some things that you can control and some things you can't control. One of those things being the actual way they show up. In some cases, you can tell them, and I hope you try to tell them, hey, wear earphones so that I'm not hearing the echo in the audio. And one of the more important things is to position your camera. Now, Tony Dungy, people are going to listen to him regardless if he's looking above the camera screen here and the camera's just pointed up at him. They're still going to listen because of who he is. We can't pull that off. Most of us cannot pull that off. So having the camera at the proper height, eye level, just above eye level, is going to be very important to tell your guest. This case, we can tell he's using probably a laptop or a phone, and it's pointed up at him at the ceiling. Now, even here, we see the vent in the top right corner here. It's not very appealing to see the vent, but because this angle is the way it is, we actually do get a little bit more insight into some of these other pictures that we probably would not have seen if the camera was positioned more straight on. So it is pretty cool to kind of see some of these other elements here in what appears to be his home. Okay, so if you have a guest come on, definitely kind of lead them into the direction of setting up the camera angle so that you can position everything before you actually hit that record button. Now, let's jump into this last grab that I want to get here. Is we see a little bit better visual of the co-host as well and another guest. So what I want to do here is go to the 2-person shot here. And on the right-hand side, we can see what the co-host is using here. He's actually using a Rode Pod mic here, which is a very popular microphone, really good quality, and is very popular. Now, there is another image, and I probably won't be able to find it off the cuff here, but he is using a Rode PSA boom arm as well. And yeah, I like to stay on brand when I'm using certain things. I believe certain companies are pretty good at building combination products. So if you're using a Rode microphone, probably using a Rode boom arm. So I'm using a Shure microphone and a Shure boom arm. I'm just particular about that. But there is another video that shows this full setup here of his Rode boom arm and the Rode Pod mic. Okay. Now, what is also important to note here, audio-wise, is because he's using a pod mic and Cam Heyward is also using a microphone that appears to be a Shure microphone. I did see that he is using, let's go back to here, and I believe it's right around the 15-minute mark here. Let's see if we can get a close-up here. No, it might be on the other video here. You can actually see the XLR cable on Cam Heyward's microphone. You see the very end of it on the microphone. So if he's using an XLR cable, they definitely have audio interfaces that go along with that. So it's an extra component that you have to manage in the audio setup. So another thing to be mindful of, especially if you're using the pod mic or any XLR microphone. Now, jumping into this last part, Juju Smith-Schuster actually used to be teammates with Cam Heyward here, and so we can see in his setup he's got the gaming headset on, so I'm sure he is a gamer. Just kind of following some of the stuff he does on social media, he definitely feels to be that type of gamer type of person. Now, what I want to do is show something that I know us creators with smaller audiences cannot pull off, is the fact that we can just show up in a messy room right here. Okay, so we can't do this. Definitely clean up your space if you are looking to grow your audience, if you are looking to get brand deals and sponsorships from your content. they notice these things as well. So if you are not Juju, if you are not Cam Heyward, if you're not someone that already has a dedicated following and audience, definitely pay attention to some of these other aesthetic things that you can do to make your set a little bit better here. So nice area that he has here, and a lot of space that you can see here. And he's got his camera up just above eye level, which looks good. And he has on a gaming headset, so he can hear and speak at the same time. Again, it's so important to have audio clear when you're doing a podcast, and especially an interview. And if we go back just a little bit here, we can also see that this is a wired headset, okay? Wired headsets allow you to prevent those awkward pauses because of audio delays. It allows you to not have to deal with batteries running out on your earbuds. Very, very good job, in my opinion, on making sure that audio is on point right there. So if we come back here again, definitely love the fact that these NFL athletes are showing up in the creator space here. And this has been the tech exposing of Not Just Football with Cam Heyward and his podcast. Let me know in the comments section who I should tech expose next. Again, I'm going to leave the links to these 3 video clips that I grabbed so that you can go and follow him, along with an idea list of some of the gear that I believe that they're using to create these podcasts. Look forward to seeing you guys in the next episode.